Yeah, and as the crowd builds, you get more and more people you know and people to wave and more clowns in the circus coming by.
It's great to be in this room. Now, so last year, we're on, right? I think
We are live.
We like talking. Last year when we did this, we were outside of the hall, and it was okay. It was good. But Alan and others, I think being in here is probably the ticket. I mean, I think I like it better. The energy and being able to hear kind of what's going
Absolutely.
on, and to see horses walk by and all that kind of stuff. I think that's probably.
Well, and last year they had us in that plexiglass box, and we were like caged zoo animals, and
Right.
people peeking in.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is a whole lot better. So here we are at the next session,
Yes, sir.
joined by my buddy Chris Sewell,
Yes,
State Fire.
yes sir.
How long have you worked with them?
I'm on my 7th year now.
7 years.
7 years, yes.
And job focused mainly over those 7 years. What all have you done?
I started off as a part-time program assistant. So I retired military, so that was
Oh, okay.
I
Didn't know that
retired and I
part.
was looking for
What branch?
Air Force.
Air Force.
All right.
Yes.
What was your spec in that? What did you do in the Air Force?
I started off as an engineer, then I became a recruiter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how I got to
Hey.
South Carolina. I
Right.
was,
Okay.
Easy to recruit for the Air Force with that good food and good lodging.
Oh, see, now you know where he's coming from, so look out. Oh, man.
Oh yeah. So eventually, after my retirement, I kept hearing my pantry
You're
open
too
up.
young to have retired. What you mean retirement?
Yeah, I retired.
Grief, no kidding. How's it, man?
Tired sitting at the house, and
Another mistake I made. I should have done that.
the pantry door kept opening, and I went grocery shopping, and I opened the pantry up again. It was empty, and I said, I'm going to have to find another job.
That sounds like an answer you'd get.
I didn't
That's
plan
it.
for this to happen. So I put in applications in, and, Lord looked out, and I did an interview with Chief Fulbright for the part-time program assistant with Fire State, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I got the job, and I started off part-time. He said, you want to do full-time? And I said, wasn't my plan, but okay, we'll do that too. And rest is history. Got into the fire service, and
Now, where are you from?
Florida originally.
Florida originally.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're lucky to have you because
Yes,
they
sir.
brag on you. I mean, that's how you got this job and being here with us today and everything, because you obviously are doing a good job for all of us, and I'm going to say it that way because you're helping the whole state and everything. So thank you for what you do, and appreciate you being a rock star and being here with us.
Yeah, and so CCR hasn't always been on the forefront of what we do
Right.
is a fire service in South Carolina, and a lot of different strategies have gone in to work harder on the prevention side.
Yes.
And everybody knows who's involved in fire service. As much as we like kicking in doors and we like, you want to make that save and you want to do the sexy stuff, the biggest difference we make in our communities is on the prevention side. If we could never have an emergency, then that's our wins, right?
Yes.
But when we had for years different programs and things going on here, it's tough to fill a room of people that want to do prevention. But I think our mindset has changed. I think the culture has changed. I think that we have seen the good that can come out of it. And the work that we've done from State Fire side of it,
Right.
CCR,
Okay,
has
that's-
really been a difference maker.
Yes.
I think that's been the key for it. Having been involved in public ed, fire safety ed, that mission was so focused in our mind that all it meant was let's go to the schools and do something.
Right.
In October.
In October, yeah. That 1 month we go to schools. That was our focus. And what these folks, what you have been able to do is take that to CRR. You've been able to broaden that and institutionalize a concept that it's about risk reduction. It's not about just October in our elementary school.
Correct. It went from a conversation of, hey, the fire service is already doing it. We just weren't documenting it, and we weren't trying to expand it. And those are the 2 points that Fire State, South Carolina, when we got started, those are the conversation pieces you're already doing. It's not new work. They already have the desire. We're already out in schools. We're already having those communications. It's just, how about also in November, and how about in December, and how about, hey, let's find new ways and avenues and partners to actually help us out, because the fire service can't do it all by themselves. So partnering up was another huge part of it.
You brought it up, so let's define it a little bit better. We're familiar, but tell folks watching and listening and everything, Fire Safe South Carolina, what's that all about? What is that?
It is simply a community risk reduction program that belongs to all of us, which is the key. It doesn't belong to one organization or another. It belongs to all of us. It's a community risk reduction program, and basically it started with the fire associations getting together and saying, hey, we have a mission. We want to reduce the fires and fire fatalities in South Carolina. We want to get better data so we know what we're doing is working. So it is a program. We can get any partner involved, Red Cross, you name it, they can partner up with it. And again, with the partnerships, we can lighten the load across the board to do more and reach more.
And you're signing up individual departments and systems to be part of this data collection, but also dissemination and partnerships and things. So to explain to me, because I know that we'll get around to some awards and things we've done yesterday, but
Yes.
how do I get to be a part of that?
It is simply mainly education. You're going to have an orientation that KT, she gives an orientation briefing. It's a quick 30-minute orientation. It's virtual. You get online, you're learning the basics of what Fire Safe South Carolina is. Once you learn that, there are some things to be a partner that you have to abide by. There are some core 4 safety messages: the right alarm, right location, home safety escape plan, 2 ways out of your home, having a safe meeting spot. You have to be able to know about smoke alarms, where they go. Again, having one in every bedroom. Simple. It's a little more in depth, but it's pretty simple concepts that they have to learn, that they have to abide by, that they have to also repeat once they learn them, so that they're saying the same thing. We're all saying one message when we're talking to the public or other partners. So you have to learn education. You have to be able to explain to others, and so you have create partnerships. And with that, you can be a partner. We have the resources as well with Fire Safe South Carolina, so smoke alarms, they can get a chance to tap into the resources as well. But we're also trying to educate that, hey, we'll teach you and show you how to get more resources for your own district and duplicate it, and it continues to grow.
Well, and I'll tell you another big part of Fire Safe South Carolina is the documentation.
Yeah, right.
So that's a big part of the program,
absolutely.
is that you will go through a program with State Fire to square you away on your NIFRs.
Yes.
Because we always were able to get the number of fatalities. And
Not yet.
there's a lot more information to be obtained from every call that you run, and to make sure it's getting reported back right.
Right.
Because if we're not getting data, there's no way to evaluate how well we're doing or not doing.
Right.
And so that's another big component of that Fire Safe.
And being able to get that data and explain why you're doing what you're doing and that it's working gets the community buy-in when they're making decisions what to do with money, with resources. Now you can show, hey, this is what we're doing on this level. Imagine what we could do if we had more resources, if we had more manpower, etc. And you can grow the program that way. So
I've just been so impressed when I've seen some of the results that they give back, how they're able to overlay that on mapping, how they're able to just give you parts of your district that are hot spots, if that's the right word for it or whatnot. And that end of it, I had never seen before. The front end and the concepts, yes, but what has impressed me most is that back end, hey, Will, this is what it looks like for you.
yes.
And that's important in funding as far as what I need for my district. So they can give you information, and there's a lot of different reports they can pull to help you do that, because no department in the state has enough money towards prevention.
Right.
It's just the way it is. And there's an obligation for suppression, and that's where the money's going to go. But if you want more money in prevention, you got to back it up somehow, some way, some type of data that's going to tell you this is where we need to improve on, and this is what we've accomplished with the money we spent, and y'all provide that.
Yes, as well as times have changed. So as we move further into technology, they're building homes different, the things that they're learning, the habits. You go back 20, 30 years, nobody was running back in the house to get their cell phone. So now, the cell phone costing over $1,000, you're thinking twice about leaving inside the house and going back to get it. So those things, if we document that information, we now know, okay, now we need to educate and explain, hey, that cell phone, not worth your life. We can have those conversations, they start to happen.
And for those that may be shocked, we were talking before this started, and I called time out because that's where this ties in completely. We were talking about what different departments do back home, what's their focus, what's their energy, and you were giving a good example, and he was just right in there with you about how you're targeting specific residential communities and doing things just right in people's houses. And is that not what we're talking about? I mean,
Yes.
you've been able to say, because of your CRR involvement, we know this is important. It saves lives, it's going to protect property, and quite frankly, it's helping us meet our mission.
Yes.
We're investing in what we needed to do on Ladies Island to help the people that's paying our budget.
So, yeah, and the way I look at it is that all districts are pretty similar, right? I mean, so we spend a lot of time inspecting commercial structures, and you do a lot on the front end, you do a lot after they're open, but my fires aren't in commercial.
Yep.
Right? And when I do, it's in the middle of the night and nobody's there.
Right.
My fires are in residential homes, and mostly lower income residential homes. So these aren't going to be the ones that have hardwired,
Right.
smoke alarms and alarm systems.
Right.
So we have made a huge effort, and I give my guy, Lieutenant Roberts, nobody will know Lieutenant Roberts, Pops, all the credit because of his commitment to doing that. Now, y'all dangle some carrots, and every fire department wants to hang that in the department.
Yes.
But we realized it was a way, okay, I'm coming to your house, and I'm going to install some smoke alarms. But y'all are larger than fire prevention, right? So there's so many things that now I can look at and I have access to, and I've built this relationship with the residents that they'll allow me to do. Because there's nothing in law that I can go in somebody's home, even if I go for a medical call, that I can make you clear this exit.
Right.
If you want to block your own exit, I can't stop you. If you want to hoard, I can't stop you. But if I have a relationship and willing to help you move it and rearrange your living room to give you a second means of egress, I can do that.
Yes.
And so that's a lot of things that's coming out of, CRR.
Yep.
Right. I sometimes I call it CCR because they cut it with the band.
That's right. That's
So
right.
it
It is a bad moon rising.
Yeah.
And so you get that. Did you get it?
I did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But that's what my point was between the difference between pub ed versus now what they're doing
Yes.
to instill in us all those things he talked about right off the get-go. It's so much more. And we weren't used to that. And I quite frankly think that's why we were doing good things and we were reducing fatal numbers. But I don't think we had quite been able to institutionalize it until
Right.
you get to the point where your program is.
Yes. And the partnership is the key. Getting behind the threshold of the citizens' homes, that partnership with that local faith-based organization, they already have been in their homes, or they already know them on a different level, to where if we can go with them, instead of having to knock on the door's already open because they've already called in advance. So you get behind that threshold and you can have a conversation of, hey, what you're doing isn't safe. You need assistance here. That conversation is so much easier when you have the partnerships already in place that have already have the rapport with your community.
And you have to really care.
Yes.
Care about community.
Yes.
People are a lot more open when they know you care.
Yes. 1,000%. 1,000%.
You're already working with a number of fire departments in this state. How many people are already involved in FireSafe SC, and how many are you recognizing? Because we did a little program yesterday afternoon that we can kind of bridge in and talk a little bit about.
Yes, we had a great award ceremony. We had over 150 that got awarded departments that walked across the stage yesterday. That is an awesome celebration. They bring their families. They get a chance to see.
What's it celebrating? What are you awarding them for?
They completed an entire year from January to December 31st every year. They have to meet a certain goals for education. They have to get a certain amount of partnerships. They have to grow their program and show that they're doing exactly what the community risk reduction program is asking of them. Once they complete that, we review it, and they get awarded. And they have a certificate that they get, as well as a plaque that they can mount, and then consecutive years they get to add to that plaque. And again, for their community, Facebook, new people that are interested, or families moving and relocating, if you get a chance to see that you're going to a fire-safe South Carolina community that has been awarded consecutive years, they are thinking about their community. They care. They're showing that they care. And that's a place, me being prior military, whenever we PCS was relocate from one station to another, they would push us. This is the community you want to live in. They are a safe community. They're a fire safe South Carolina community. Okay, that's where I want to go. They care about what they're doing, and they care about their people.
I've seen actual communities actually have the signs out.
Yes.
I mean, so that people are proud of this. It's a big deal, and should be a big deal. But I've actually seen roadway signs.
Have you?
Yeah.
So ours sit in our front lobby.
Yep.
and I'll brag on us. We've got multiple, multiple, Ricky, multiple.
Multiple.
And they stand there, and that is great for somebody that walks in.
Right.
But it's a lot like accreditation, right?
Yeah.
So if you do all the steps to become accredited, your benefits on the other end
Yeah.
are far superior than having the award.
Yeah.
Now, you could do the bare minimum to get the award. You know, I mean, you could do exactly what's required, but I would think that anybody who has that accreditation is doing more.
Yeah. You
So
made an
this-
investment.
Yeah. So you got the certificate, and if I'm doing this, you're meeting the requirements, but it allows you to do this. So what I'm seeing is, yes, we're getting accreditation, and it's important, or we're getting a certification that's important to us, but because of those things, it's opening us up to do more.
And I can't keep saying enough, though, for me, from a chief officer's perspective, the fact that you were able to come in and say, now, thank you for participating, and here's what's going on. Here's feedback, and we never had that before. We never had the ability to look and say, gosh, I just hadn't mapped that. I hadn't seen that numerical list of this is what's going on.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you how I look at it.
Yep.
So everybody that comes off that stage
Yep.
takes a picture.
All right.
Every department.
Right.
Nobody walks off and it doesn't mean something to take a picture, right? And every picture I see, I'm thinking about a department that didn't get in. Why not? Why don't you have one? So to me, it's almost like, hey, there's a pathway to get this. How come you don't have it? Why doesn't your department have it?
And it is not, I know the answer to this. We're too small. It's just us 20, we're volunteer, whatever the excuse is. How do you combat that? What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is I can show them full volunteer fire departments, smaller than theirs, some bigger than theirs, some in more rural locations than theirs, that are doing it, that have walked across that stage and have done exactly the same thing that we're asking them to do. Everybody's district is going to be slightly different. You're facing different obstacles, but the education, the same. You going into a home, same way. There's still that. This is the Bible Belt. If you have a faith-based organization somewhere in your community.
That's right.
Let's partner with them. They know everybody already. Let's go do a smoke alarm install. Let's do a home safety visit campaign. Let's get behind the threshold and actually see what your actual problem is. Do the data. Do the community risk assessment. You actually can see where your problem areas are. That is something any department can do.
And here's
Cost you nothing.
Yeah, and here's the
Time.
real deal. If you reach out to Chris or anybody else on that team, they will walk you through the process. They will hold your hand. They will show up at your department to become that. And it's not they're not walking you through the process to become fire safe, known department.
Right.
They're teaching you how to have a true CRR program. And they, like I said, so when we first started, there was a lot of conversation. Okay, what do we need to do here? What do we need to do there? And then once they kind of gave us those tools and we built those relationships that we can call them at any time when we have a question, super easy.
Yes.
Super easy.
And you had the motivation by purity of what you were doing for your community. But I've always thought that a good motivation is a little competition. Isn't there a place where the departments that qualified this year are listed on the internet or website or something? Isn't there a list?
Oh yes, they're everywhere. They're on the website. They're on our website with State Fire. They can see them there.
Yep.
The governor recognizes them as well.
Absolutely.
So yes.
And the next
Make
couple
sure
of
you
days,
push.
y'all will make a post with all the names.
Oh yes.
And so I can see what my neighbors are doing, and my neighbors can see that I am not doing this maybe or something. So
Correct.
again, purity of motivation, what we should be doing is just because it's the right thing, but to poke the bear a little bit, this is a good way to say, hey, they doing it, why ain't we doing it kind of thing.
So I guess personally, my transition in my career, unapologetic, aggressive firefighter, still loving doing the job. I got tired and still get tired of going to a fire and not making a difference.
Right.
And if you really want to make a difference, make it on the front end.
Right.
And so if you have this program, you got a hard charging community risk program, you're going to have less fires, but you're still going to have fires. But all you need is one call that you go to that a smoke detector that was installed on a blitz or by your department that alerted people to get out of the home. And if you can't take value in that, you don't need to be doing the other part of this job.
No. That community and those people that live there are me.
Yes.
And it should be as if that's just an extension of my own personal property, because I took the conscious effort to become a servant to that community.
Yes.
And if I really want to do that, that's just as much mine as this over here. They're taking possession of it right now, so what can I do to help protect that over there? And stop this thing, this terrible thing from happening. And it isn't that doggone hard. And it's not complicated. It's an investment of time.
Right.
And it ain't as sexy sometimes as riding around on big red trucks, but it is more effective if you take it serious and can get on the bus early.
You know, we were talking off camera, the other benefits that you get from a good program.
Yeah.
One is a supportive community.
Absolutely.
And when they know or feel like that they have a department that cares about them.
Yep.
If city managers, county councils, anybody else are trying to take anything away from them and their department, they will kick down the doors at town hall.
They're your choir. They're going to sing your song.
And I'm going to tell you, the older women in my community have more power than anybody. Yeah, and so you piss them off, you might as well cancel Christmas.
Right. You've been doing this now, you said 7 years, but you've been involved in this a long time, and you've got a lot invested in it. Tell me what you see is coming. Where's the trends? What's next? What's the next step? What's the challenge that you want to offer to anybody that you see is coming down the line?
The community risk assessment, getting the data to the next level, using the technology that we have out in the world now to make things happen a little faster, a little easier, is going to be the goal. I mean, we're still doing some of the Red Cross forms on paper when we fill those out. So getting more digital will speed up a lot of communication, the data, getting to the point where we can fill out questionnaires and surveys and boom, hit send, and now it's capturing the data faster. Because right now we do a lot of it via email, via paper and scanning, and we're still in that stage. So I think the speed of that will help us out and get us to a whole nother level, including, like I said, using the GIS to now get to a point to where everybody, no matter what department you're from, you can see where the smoke alarm is being installed, where that smoke alarm blitz is happening. Because if you want to be a part of it, you can also, well, hey, let me go see if I can volunteer here. And you can see from year to year the growth on that map of how we're expanding, as well as all the lives that are saved. Because we have over 150 now lives saved in South Carolina.
Wow.
So
wow.
It's working.
I wonder how much, and we heard a speaker Thursday, I got to get my days right, and we've all talked about it. You mentioned NIFR's reporting, the quality of information that you're getting, and if there is a potential of transition to Nearest in the future that may or may not replace that, is that going to improve maybe what we're doing on the backside too? You mentioned we got better at report writing.
Yes.
I know 30 years worth, it has always been awful. I mean, it's just been atrocious. So how do we improve that? And I don't know whether it's Nearest or what the answer is to fix the thing, but that's got to be a big part of this.
Well, and I think a big part of that is the partnerships that Fire Safe has with all the different organizations, because I think the biggest barrier when you're collecting information is not knowing why it's important. So I think once folks know why and what's happening to this data, then they're more inclined to fill it out. If they feel like it's just going into a file and nobody cares, then we'll just skip that. When you start learning, and when you go through your program, you learn why because they'll tell you why we want this and why it needs to be this. So it becomes important that I know when I'm filling out a report or I'm QCing a report, I got to check this box here because they're going to need it to do something with it. And I think the partnership between all the groups of I'm doing this so they can do what they need to do, and that's what was important to me. Now, does everybody look at it? I'm not sure, but for me, that's
made the difference.
That's a great point. And again, if we get to the point with our technology that we can actually show, once you hit the button on your report, you see it on the map, and you've added to the collective of the rest of the fire service, how impactful that will be for us.
How much integration? I'm ignorant, so I don't know. I know that State Fire also does a lot of post-fire investigation and documentation and information. Does any of that get rolled up into this as well also?
Oh, yes. So all of the data eventually from our Clear Team program that we have, So any type of fatal fire, we go out and we do the research portion of it. We can help out if need be, but we are solely research because we need to know, again, if that family member went back in the home to go get that $1,000 cell phone they just purchased and they're still making payments on it. They went back to go get it, and that's why they didn't make it out. So that information is something that we need to know, because that's going to drive our education so that we can get out and educate the community to make sure they're aware of these situations and how we can, adapt. So that data is also, will be included as well. So the more data you have, the more we can learn from it.
So a question I have is, your team is fired up about what y'all do.
Oh, yes.
And every time I attend something you do and I talk with y'all, how do y'all stay motivated knowing that, and I don't want to say the flat bills, but the aggressive firefighters that are here for the hard charging programs look at y'all and say, oh, that's the prevention guys. How do y'all stay motivated?
I know for me, the biggest motivation for me is when I do get a chance to get said firefighter to go on a smoke alarm blitz with me. So again, the resource is the carrot that gets them to open the door for us. We get inside the home, and that voluntold firefighter that was made to come is not understanding why we're doing what we're doing, and he believes it's somebody else's job. When I get behind the threshold with them, I make sure that citizen, I address them and I show them, this is your firefighter. This is who will be coming when you call. If you need something, this is the individual. And I say his name, his rank, and everything. And the connection is then built. And I love to see their face. Oh, right. That's right, I am.
It finally clicks. It becomes applicable of what I'm doing. It's not just I'm putting up a smoke detector. I'm helping her or him.
Right. And that's a good point, because there a lot of times is a disconnect from the service to the people we serve.
Yes.
And there's a disconnect, and you got to make sure in your firehouse, in your department, it's not that way, because we exist because of them.
Yes.
No other reason.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I always enjoyed, I don't mind hiring people from anywhere, but I always enjoyed hiring somebody from my community, because chances were mom, dad, aunt, uncle, somebody, cousin, relation, I had a connection back to that community, and I had a value to it,
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that value drove me to do things that you may have got into this profession for one reason, but I now see the value of what he's doing for my family. I'm on board.
Yes.
I got to buy in.
Yes.
It just makes a big difference. Y'all are doing some outstanding work. This is great. This is a great program. I'm convinced that it is changing the profile, the culture, and the future of what's going to happen for fire safety in the state. I'm just pleased as heck that you are joining us today, and that you're here.
Thanks for having me.
It's obvious that got rock stars all around us
Absolutely.
sometime and everything. So you do good stuff. We're gonna have to try to get him back involved in more things what we got going on. So I'm learning as we go here today too.
Well, pleasure for having you on.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
joining.
you.
Appreciate all you do for the state, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Happy to do it.
Thank you.